Hi, my name is John, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to install your new Topiom Rowing Machine. Our assembly should take only about 25 minutes with the help of this detailed video. Our rowing machine comes in two boxes. This box is for the water tank assembly, and this box is the rails. Please make sure you check to ensure that everything arrived okay. So now I'm going to show you the components of the rowing machine. These are the foot pads. This is the electric water pump. These are the dolly wheels. This is the rear spacer. This is the hardware kit. These are the instructions. And this is the seat. Now I'm going to lift up the top components out of the box and set them aside. This is the water tank assembly. And finally, this is the footboard. First, take the rails out of the box. To begin with, remove the foam pieces. And then remove the rails. Set them on the floor with the logo pointed out. Next, we're going to assemble the rear spacer board. But first, we want to unravel the bungee cord from the board. Make sure that it extends forward in that direction. And also, we want to make sure that the bungee cord attachment is facing down. First, we want to line up the holes between the rails and the board using the rear board bolt. Line up the bolt and attach the board on the front side, loosely attaching it to begin with, and the same on the back side. Line up the board holes. And screw in the bolts. We want to make sure that we don't over tighten these bolts because we need some slack in the assembly to assemble the remaining components on the board. So we want to tighten the first bolt and then tighten the second bolt. Again, we want to make sure we have some slack in the assembly, and we want to tighten the back bolts in the same fashion. Next, we're going to assemble the seat. Pick up the seat. Make sure that the indentation is facing towards the rear board. Place the wheels on the rails. Make sure they're on there correctly. Next, we want to assemble the water tank. To begin with, we want to make sure that we unravel the bungee cord attachment from the frame. Pick up the water tank. Make sure the bungee cord attachment is in the middle. Set the water tank on the rails. And make sure that you align the boat holes. Next, we're going to attach the tank assembly to the rails using the unit connector, bolt, and nut. This is the unit connector bolt, which goes on the inside, and this is the unit connector nut, which goes on the outside. So we put the nut through the hole, and then hand tighten each of the bolts. First the top, then the bottom. Again, we're just going to hand tighten these because once we get to the end of the assembly, we're going to go back with the Allen key and tighten up all of the bolts. And you want to do the back side the same way. So now we're going to assemble the footboard. To begin with, you want to take your foot and put it in between the rails so that you can use it as a support for the footboard as you're assembling it. First thing you want to do is insert the footboard in between the rails. Line the boards up to the water assembly, and then line the boat hose up. To assemble the foot pad, we're going to use the handle rest and the handle rest bolt. And to begin with, you want to insert the handle rest bolt into the handle rest, and then into the boat hole. And then hand tighten the handle rest into the footboard. And then do the same thing. The left side, insert the handle rest bolt into the handle rest, and insert it into the boat hole. And hand tighten. Then, you're going to take your Allen key and tighten the bolts. You just want to tighten these loosely again. Again, we're going to go back into the assembly and tighten down all of the bolts. So just loosely tighten that for now. Next, we want to use our unit connectors. The unit connector nut and the unit connector bolt, and tighten the footboard to the rails. And once the nut is inserted, insert the bolt to the outside and hand tighten. And do the same thing for the bottom. Insert the nut and hand tighten the bolt. And in the same fashion, tighten the nut and the bolt to the backside. Now we're going to assemble the foot pads. These are the foot pads. First, install the first foot pad. We press and hold the adjustment button. Insert the foot pad underneath the foot pad cover and bring it up to the desired position. Release the button. Take the second pad, press and hold the adjustment button. Place it underneath the foot pad cover. Make sure that the two pads align at the top. Finally, check and make sure that both pads are fixed and not moving. Now we're going to install the dolly wheel. To install the dolly wheel, you first want to remove the nut from the back side of the bolt, and then remove the two black washers from the bolt. Insert the dolly wheel and replace the washers on the inside, and then tighten the nut onto the bolt by hand. Once you have it tightened by hand, use the spanner and the Allen key. Use the spanner to hold the nut in place. And then tighten the bolt. Be careful not to tighten it too tight because we want the dolly wheel to be able to move So we take it back just a little bit so that the dolly wheel moves. And then use the same procedure to install the second dolly wheel on the other side. Next, we're going to tighten all the bolts for the assembly, beginning with the rear. Tighten that bolt. We want to make sure that we tighten all the bolts all around the entire assembly. Next, we're going to attach the recoil belt to the bungee cord. The first step in doing this is to pull the recoil belt all the way forward until the handle rests against the back of the unit. Next, we want to make sure the seat is pushed all the way against the footboard. Next, we want to lift the rowing machine upright, lifting from the rear spacer board. Next, we want to attach the bungee cord to the recoil belt and the D-ring of the recoil belt. And finally, we want to make sure that we lift the handle onto the handle rest. And water to the tank. To do this, we take the electric pump box, open the box, remove the pump, and remove the metal tube and the silicone hose. We take the pump, take the metal tube, and insert the tube into the side of the pump. And next, take the silicone hose, attach it to the bottom of the electric pump. Next, remove the rubber bung from between the top and bottom. To fill the tank, insert the metal tube into the inlet and the silicone hose into the water, and press the button on the top to turn on the pump and begin filling the tank. We recommend that you fill the tank to level 17. Once you fill the tank to the appropriate level of water, take the rubber bung and insert it back in the hole on the bottom deck. If you have a slippery floor, or if you just want to protect your floor, we recommend this slip-resistant mat. Press the mode button twice to start your exercise. If you want to protect your rowing machine from dust, we offer this protective dust cover. It's available on our website. Before you cover your machine, you want to make sure that the seat is pushed all the way forward. You want to start by covering the rear spacer first. And then take in flat. Once you have your cover on, lift your machine up from the rear spacer. And pull the zipper down to the bottom. Attach the Velcro at the bottom. And you're ready to store your machine.